Hello, Partyfoot here with another episode of Partyfoot Plays Mechabellum. Here we are loading into another game. Today we're going to go with an Amplify Specialist, picking up some Sledgehammers and Arc Lights. Our opponent goes for the Cost Control and starts out with Sledgehammers as well, along with a bunch of chaff in the form of fangs, which is quite nice for him. Hello, I have a webcam now, so I'm trying that out as an option. So, yeah, here we go, loading into another great game of our favorite, I guess, auto battler. Now, I was thinking to myself, he didn't really have a lot of, DPS, really. Maybe, like, your chaff clear, we didn't really need to have chaff to absorb stuff what he's got, so maybe Void Eyes rather than getting chaff. We'll see how that goes for us. We do drop 2 of the cores down on our Sledgehammers just to kind of hopefully push them over the edge in this duel, not really realizing that he's cost control, so his sledges would already be weaker than ours. Our Arc Lights are positioned beautifully to intercept the chaff that he went for. He went for an additional pair of packs of crawlers. Pretty strong, but definitely in this initial round not doing great into the positioning of the Arc Lights. He had nowhere to know. But we do pretty well here on round 1. Void Eyes helping finish out those Sledgehammers. I guess we would have won anyway with the Cost Control Specialist slightly reducing the opposing Sledgehammer stats. It's possible that it wouldn't actually hit a breakpoint, but probably would on both attack and HP. We see a farseer, we decided to go for that. Farseer's, just got an anti-air upgrade, I saw. That seems pretty cool. I haven't actually put on my bar yet, as you can see, but I will do, I think. That seems super strong. Our opponent picks up a couple marksmen, hopefully to improve his DPS against our slightly larger units. Still not that good against Void Eyes or Sledgehammers, but marksmen will work their way through Sledgehammers slowly. They'll also be pretty good into Farseer, but Farseer in the early rounds is very strong, and we drop down our Amp Core, our last remaining Amp Core on that unit too, so stronger than average even, which is probably going to be scary for our opponent. I'm sure he'll go, ugh. Farseer, round 2. Who raised you? Yes, I know. I'm willing to do some terrible, terrible things to win, or even just to get out ahead, really. Opponent goes for 2 sets of Phoenix. Get that single target in, go into the air as well. Nicely for us, this Farseer is quite good into air. We'll see if it sticks around long enough to take them down, though, because, it might. Farseer is a bit faster than I thought. This is what I was worried about in the moment. I was like, is he going to get out in front? Is he? And turns out not quite. Does take a couple hits from, I guess, some fangs, so certainly getting into the fray. If it gone any further forward, there would be nothing really to deal with these Phoenixes. Seems unlikely these fangs are going to be able to take them down. Although, we also placed 2 fangs on the flanks, which directly walked into his Phoenixes, so a couple of lucky plays from us in terms of positioning, countering the units from our opponent as they came out. Yeah, I got to admit that is fairly lucky. I mean, obviously it's a little bit by design. I wanted a bit more chaff. I didn't pick any chaff up in the early game already, so round 2, obviously we needed to grab some. Only 2 packs. Could have gone for a third. Obviously the money's starting to get thin for that additional deployment by the end there. And then we see, we've got Sledgehammers, so extended range sledge, maybe? Our opponent grabs the efficient giant manufacturing. I'm not sure I like the fortified arc lights so much. I guess with armor it could be an interesting play. There's got to be situations where that's going to be quite useful. And since we did get that upgrade, I thought, let's go for a couple extra packs of sledges and put them out onto the wings. And then delay them a little bit so that they're not walking ahead of these fangs. Because we did know these Phoenixes, we did quite like how those Phoenixes just immediately locked onto this big pack of fangs. So if we put these Sledgehammers a little bit further back, I thought they'd survive hopefully a little bit longer. They are a bit faster than the fangs. We'll see if they catch up. It'd be good to know for the future if that's the case, because gauging it here, I kind of know they're a little bit faster, but this might not have been enough. Leveling the Void Eyes. Our opponent is getting some durability and attack damage on their units and some Mustangs. Certainly not a bad choice. We have picked up the attack upgrade, but are behind now in durability. Well, not quite because of their cost specialist, of course. Still just the one farseer to deal with these phoenixes, so if the tides of battle turn towards his favor in the form of this farseer going down, it could be quite nice for his phoenix experience. We really quickly work through the ground army, take down the marksmen, and start working on these last remaining phoenix. It's going to take a little while, so these guys are going to be able to clear out a little bit more of our forces before the end. But yeah, here we are, new webcam. Seeing myself in person, we'll get to observe our own behavior, I guess, as I watch my videos. And the farseer comes in, takes out the last two. It is a cool unit. It feels very kind of like good at everything. No weaknesses, though. I don't know what you would do to make it worse. Maybe make it do less damage, for example. It does, I think, 300 damage, which is quite a lot, considering it's like a kind of support unit. Maybe it deserves to have its like survival at the end of the round effectiveness reduced or something. They already don't really scale that well into the late game, but I guess with this new anti-air upgrade, maybe they're going to be pretty good. Like, Wraith is going to hate that. I mean, I already had a game recently where I thought to myself, this farseer is literally unstoppable. Like, you know, it's level 2 or 3, and without trying, it seems to be completely dissolving my leveled Wraiths. Opponent levels up some of their phoenixes. Decides to go for a couple more. He's put out some these Mustangs on the flanks, which we kind of immediately walked into our sledgehammers as well. So he's really not had a great kind of tempo out of the placement of these units. He goes for Fang Shields, which is pretty expensive. Just only have 3 units of Fangs at the moment too, but they are out in front, which is nice. Big missile comes in. Half a pack of tanks plus our Void Eyes. Kind of annoying. Exposing our farseer potentially, but we have picked up a second one now. Mostly because of symmetry. It has improved firepower control as well. I figure they can be decent at DPS if they get a little bit of extra attention. Yeah, I mean, we are one-shotting these level 2, or, you know, one-volleying these level 2 Phoenixes, which is good to see. I don't know if there is a particular breakpoint for that item, and if it might have taken a few more volleys, if not for it. Our opponent is starting to suffer now. Scorpion comes out. Stormcaller. Fire Badger. I'm not sure really what's good here. It seems to me like Scorpion's probably going to be good against me. Fire Badger maybe. I wasn't really thinking about it very clearly. I thought to myself, maybe I need more chaff clear if the Farseers are going to be doing our damage. Our opponent does pick up the Scorpion. And we do go for the Fire Badgers. So our opponent actually doubles down on Scorpions pretty hard, goes for range. Kind of, I guess, inspired by that option. We level our Farseer in the back. We level some of our tanks too. My logic was if we're going improved range, they're obviously meant to kind of survive for a bit and do some damage, so leveling them seems to make sense. I guess they do get a bit of a stat decrease from that range as well. I mean, they're still good chaff, either way. We decided to go for some ranged Mustangs as well. So a bunch of extra chaff clear in the form of these Badgers. They're actually kind of durable against anything other than, of course, you know, Scorpions. In terms of absorbing a few hits as well. So we do see those Scorpions and go, oh yeah, okay, hang on. We got tanks, we got Void Eyes, we got basically medium chaff, and they all bunch together beautifully. Look at this. Ouch. This one here. Well, you know, could be worse. Ah, these hits. Ah. As soon as they get onto our Farseers as well, it's all going to be over because of the Phoenix count, which has, you know, been invested further in. Mustangs are helping clear out some of the flying units. Just about overwhelming this. So much damage. Really brutal. Farseer gonna almost take down the Scorpion, even though the Scorpion really is quite a... Now we're seeing that he's put down 2 of these sneaky anti-missile turrets. That's some craven behavior if I've ever seen it. We do take one of them down though, so vengeance. Trying to stop our Farseers. We've only got 2 Farseers, my guy. Just relax. I don't even think these things like actually shoot down Farseer missiles that well because they're quite fast. It's, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. Nano repair kit, I imagined a regenerating Scorpion and kind of shivered a little bit, but I didn't want improved saber beacon, just, you know, overloads my brain, so I went for fangs out in front to absorb these devastating Scorpion shots. I did not want to see that sort of massacre a second time. Don't think these Badgers were a great choice. We do go for the shields too, so this hopefully is going to extremely reverse the tides that happened to us last time. Both these Farseers with damage upgrades are getting pretty decent numbers. This one maybe, I guess, a little bit less so. How are the, of course, Mustang's doing decently as well, which is always good to see. Kind of very much spreading the load across all of our units at the moment, so no particular MVPs, whereas our opponent is getting a pretty nice concentration of damage on these Scorpions. He's got the Phoenixes to kind of take over. I mean, they're not doing well right now, but that's only because they're not allowed to do so. As soon as the tide turns a little bit on our units, they could easily come in and swoop up a bunch of extra damage. We do have quite a chaffy army, I will say that. Really only the Farseers being ideal targets for Phoenixes. And those initial hits absorb so much better now that we have Fangs with shields. Just taking huge hits from these Scorpions and then not even passing out. You know, up to potentially four shots for a Scorpion to take down one of those units, if not more if they don't have support. Farseer's going down though. Locked onto by this sniper, taken down. Our other one is in dire condition as well. We did pick up the electromag explosion, and it is just enough to confuse that Scorpion by taking its range off. Just barely still alive, the Farseer. Taking down the tower. He replaced the missiles. Oh, just rudeness, basically. I mean, of course, you're allowed to be rude to your opponent. This is a life or death struggle. We take down both of them this time. This, if only he'd done a little bit more damage to this thing. That is sad to see. Removing the range from the Scorpion once again, and actually winning the round. Whew. I mean, it's pretty close though. A little bit more damage. That Farseer doesn't take down both the missiles. That's 100 extra he needs to invest if he wants to replace those. We go for the missile strike, and it looks like there's a pretty good target over here. That's going to be quite juicy. Could argue you could go for a leveled pack. Maybe even over here, maybe. Our opponent grabs a mountain while we level up our Mustangs. A big, nice line of leveled Mustangs is pretty nice. We've got a pair of leveled, elite recruited Mustangs this time. We also thought we needed a bit of late chaff. Should have probably done that before we got the elite upgrade. Leveled Fangs, not really going to make much of a difference. Probably. It could have been a little bit cheaper. We still are very much chaff heavy. You know, 2 Farseer is, you know, it's not terrible, but it's not going to be able to completely destroy everything here. Still doing good damage though on this one with the advanced firepower, improved firepower. Opponent grabs the gun-launched missile. That was the first one I reached for when I tried out the mountain for the first time. I thought that sounded pretty good. I think though, we're going to still see some pretty nice performance out of these initial packs of Fangs in terms of absorbing those shots. that more phoenixes out of our opponent? It is. Oof, that sucked. And all of this firepower going into these fangs. Look at that. Now Mustangs in the middle coming in, clearing out everything in the middle. While a big wave of chaff comes in, distracting. Second gun-launched missile comes down into that, maybe third perhaps. We didn't expect the mountain, but it is not thriving in this kind of adverse environment. Our level 3 farseer really getting a good amount of time taking it down. One on the other side is not really putting in as much work, but does take down the Scorpion, which is its main, the main threat. And moves on potentially to the tower. While we take down the Scorpions on the other side, this one is recovering a lot of HP in the middle here, and we did just kind of peter out here. The electromagnetic disruption is so brutal, though. It really just isn't something you can manage. Will we get the tower in time to maybe turn it around? This farseer is pretty low. It has a range advantage, though. It's just got such a decent base range on it. But we do get it taken down. Marksman doing its job. And... come on. You can do it. Oh, that looks... it's actually super close. Even now, I remember now, afterwards, thinking, wow, that was way closer than I thought it would be. The debuff making a big difference. Absorption module. Always worth thinking about what could be done with that. Steel ball production. Also pretty good. Underground threat. Also really nice. I thought I would try putting the underground threat underneath this block of units just to see exactly what it was. I thought everyone here, especially the mountain, has a really slow turning radius, right? If I can make it turn all the way around, take a shot, maybe even like, and then, I don't know, let's see what happens. Opponent gets regeneration on the Scorpions. We get a pair of additional Farseers and range. So I thought, okay, if we keep these guys safe, and we kind of slightly improve their numbers, you know, it feels like they've been doing the job for us. 100k, 66k, you know. You know, we have upgraded these guys, though. So without upgrades, maybe these guys aren't going to be as good. I was valuing adding the electromagnetic explosion onto these Scorpions, potentially. Disrupting their range, making them do the slow walk forward, while, you know, maybe giving us an opportunity to take them all down. We're selling out of the Badgers, which really have achieved next to nothing the whole game, unfortunately for them. I guess mostly just dying to these Scorpions. Opponent has quite a lot of Phoenixes now. I guess with this 4-pack, quite a lot, maybe not really the case, but... okay. And he does turn around and fire a couple of shots backwards, and it also consolidates his entire backline into this kind of central position. Big Scorpion hits still coming out, but they're mostly hitting chaff. And our Farseers are working. They're good at clearing everything, basically. So they're going to work through this chaff pretty well, and then when they do lock onto something big like the mountain, you get the benefit of the electromagnetic explosion. Is it going to be enough? Everything's gone, basically, apart from those Farseer. We do take down the mountain, which is good for our health, but we don't take down the Scorpions that continue to shoot us down until basically there's nothing left. Well, I mean, literally there's nothing left. We see some Stormcallers. We also see a melting point. I was already thinking to myself, I heard sorry Mechabellum talking about how, what's the great counter to mountains and Scorpions and Fangs? Abyss? I never go Abyss. I feel like Abyss is like somehow out of my league. I also think those, you know, Stormcallers pretty good against the slow, large units, so I figured they'd go for those too. Double Abyss. This is the play. Double Abyss. Efficient maintenance. The game might go on if he beats me. You know, it's starting to get pretty volatile, but we do still have a decent amount of HP, so if we keep this nice and low, then maintenance nice and low, then that should be good for us if we have to go for another round. And with the backup of these Farseers, this should be a pretty good combination, right? We're gonna, you know, a big DPS unit in the form of this Abyss, who's gonna sweep across Mustangs, potentially, Fangs, potentially. The beam, I believe, does like kind of damage per second as it moves through, so it's quite good against large opponents, including potentially the mountain. Our opponent doesn't actually even have the anti-air upgrade, so not capable of countering our Abyss with those mountains. Let's see how it goes. The missiles come in, striking fangs. More missiles come in, striking fangs. Our counter missiles coming in, also striking fangs, but the Abyss start to get to work. Most of the chaff is kind of gone, and these sweeps. Look at this. That is devastation. Mountain's taking an unbearable amount of damage. Immediately going down. This Scorpion has decided it's not going to be so easy, except, well, actually it is. 2 Abyss is too much. The additional storms in the back actually doing a pretty good amount of damage, considering. And there it is. That's all she wrote. So, yeah, thanks for joining us for another game of Mechabellum. I actually haven't been using the Abyss much. I guess, yeah, I just haven't really known the right time to pull it out, but seems like Surrey is quite correct that against Mountain and Scorpion and Fang, which is basically, and you know, I think it's verbatim, he also said Mustang, they seem pretty good. Doing 170k both, backed up by our farseers, who continue to do actually a fair amount of work as well, including applying that electromagnetic explosion. Everyone else basically just acting as chaff, except, you know, even these Mustangs kind of, they're there. You know, they're hanging out. Stormcaller is also just kind of existing. So, well, thank you very much everyone for watching. Hope you like the new webcam. I guess it's not the greatest quality, and it's just the back of my wall, and, you know, maybe we'll fix that up in the future. But for now, this has been Partyfoot. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.